It's so cool. Yes.
Michael Chiarello, who'll be back with dessert later in the show, gave us this California Zinfandel. It's made with organically grown grapes. So why don't we give a little toast here?
Hope organic feet.
Yeah.
Eyes.
Oh.
What's with the eyes?
7 years bad sex.
Oh, if you have enough of
eyes.
this, if you have enough of this, you won't know it's bad. Trust me on that. Mary Lou and I thought we were drunk already. Look at these glasses. What's up with that? It looks like you fell down.
It's like the
already.
Wonder Spot from the Wisconsin Dells. I don't know if anybody knows.
It doesn't mean that you're not already drunk, by the way.
Well,
just
that's
'cause the
true.
glass looks like that.
I want to pick up on some things that we talked about, or that I talked about just briefly at the start of the show. And first, with you, Doug, I know on your radio show you talk about green hysteria.
Yeah.
And that An Inconvenient Truth, the book, the movie, is packed with lies.
Well, you know, here's the thing. We have one planet, and I certainly believe that we should leave it in the best shape possible to the next generation. But I don't believe you can lie your way to a moral good. And I think that that there is so much flat-out hysteria that does a disservice to the environment, because what happens is when people realize that you're lying to them, then they don't believe anything you're saying. And I really believe it. You know, we're telling kids today that if they have sex, they're going to get AIDS. If they get 1 micron of secondhand smoke, they're going to get lung cancer. The earth is going to be a rotisserie. And we wonder why kids are nuts. It's sensory overload. You got a good case to make the case. But the polar bears aren't going anywhere. The polar bears are actually, there's more polar bears now than there were 10 years ago. But we're told the debate is over, and you're not allowed to have a different opinion. I'm sorry, but you can't. I go back to my original point. You've got a good, strong argument to make, a common sense argument that the planet should be protected, but don't lie about it.
So what is it going to take for people to really get it?
Well, it's not going to take you know, guys like Lloyd Levine trying to ban the incandescent light bulb in California by the force of law. I want to leave not just a clean planet to the future, but also a free planet without a bunch of totalitarians telling us what we can and can't do.
Come on in here.
I got this. This is what I do for a living, is argue with right-wingers.
Absolutely.
Anyway. When you say we still don't, the jury's out, the scientific community is, where are the lies in that movie? The scientific community is hugely behind what's in that movie.
It depends. Listen, Stephanie, I know you've talked to a lot of people on your show, but I have had scientists with the same degrees.
ExxonMobil scientists?
Not just that. I'm not on a payroll for any, and I don't work for ExxonMobil. I don't work for the Republican Party. I want the planet to be healthy. I don't want people to lie.
Well, give us a
hysteria.
specific.
Yeah, you think there's no global warming?
No,
Let's back up a second, though. The Science magazine, end of 2004, published Science, well-reviewed, peer-reviewed, 928 papers.
Right.
0 disagree with the consensus. So the way I look at it is, if you believe in science, then
I do believe in science, but again,
so if there are a few
how do you set
scientists-
public policy based
what's
on? Well, I'll give you an example. It's just intuitive. The scientists that I have talked to, and I've talked to many, say that the Earth's temperature has just returned to where it was 2,000 years ago. So what was Jesus driving? All right, because I don't think it was a Lincoln Navigator. The problem is that our human lifespan is very short.
You would have an intuitive sense, like a spidey sense?
Yes, it is. It's called common sense.
Because my favorite moment, here's the good news about this election, Tom. Yes. Whoever gets in is going to be better on climate change than George Bush. My favorite moment in the 2000 debate with him and Al Gore is when George Bush said, you know, I don't think we really know what causes global warming. It was the look on Al Gore's face.
Right.
And then he cut to him and he said, well, I think we do.
Well, you know, yeah, Al Gore says a lot of things. Al Gore is also the inventor of the carbon offset, which is, to me, this has become a secular religion. It's like, as a Catholic, it's like indulgences. I can still sin, but I give a check to the bishop and I don't have to go to hell. It's like, I'm going to have a pizza, I'll have a Diet Coke. It's a fat offset.
Let me ask you.
It's ridiculous. I still get to pollute the world, but this way I don't feel guilty about it.
Graham, is this the green fatigue that you worry about, what we're hearing from Doug?
yeah, I mean, certainly there's some concern about the fatigue, but let me address this because I think this is really important. Like, carbon offsets, they absolutely have their problems. We need ways to really be sure that the projects are happening, et cetera. But what I think is really important there is just directionality. We're valuing carbon.
What does directionality mean? There's all these buzzwords. What does that mean, directionality?
Well, what it means is that...
It doesn't mean anything.
We're going to need a lot more of this, and Doug's going to be here the whole night.
I think this is factory food talking. I don't know about anybody else, but I think this is what happens when you eat food from a factory instead of from the earth. So why don't you have a little pasta, and then we'll, you know, have a conversation.
This is the thing. You see, here's the problem. You guys have been living in a green bubble for so long that you don't want to hear. You don't want to hear another point of view. And I'm sorry, but
No,
the world has been, here's the difference. You have made moral choices. For instance, we make no judgments. We're told the worst thing you can be a modern-day American is judgmental. Someone who's a crackhead is somebody we should have empathy for. But a smoker of a Marlboro is a war criminal. You know, if you feel guilty for running the tap water while you're brushing your teeth, this is like a wallowing in some kind of collective guilt over being a successful society.
But I want to go back because
we're not a successful society.
Of course, we're the most successful society the world has ever seen.
Smokers are war criminals.
Not a perfect society, a successful society that allows people to rise to the level of their abilities.
Absolutely,
it's a blessing.
We're overstepping our boundaries. And
according to who? Thomas Jefferson, Mr. Liberty.
According to 1,000.
So you don't think there's any problem?
I didn't say that. You see, this is an extremist argument. Because if anybody disagrees, you make it an either-or proposition.
I guess I don't understand what you're saying.
What I'm saying is common sense. Let's protect the planet to the point that it doesn't impinge upon people's freedom and productivity.
Do you think everyone is as smart as you are in terms of how much you would?
Well, I trust people to make. Yes, I trust people to make a decision. For instance, in my home, I use the little corkscrew fluorescent light bulbs because they make sense to me. But we have a legislator in California who wants to use the force of law to make the incandescent light bulb a criminal offense. If I can figure out market forces make sense for a fluorescent bulb, why can't everybody else figure out a better mousetrap?
They're not as smart as you are.
That's ridiculous. That's an elitist, condescending attitude. It is. It's an elitist, condescending attitude that those people in flyover country are too stupid.
No, I'm from a flyover country.
You know, the irony is the conversation's getting heated and the food is getting cold.
We all have utensils.
So feel free to eat. I mean, you can also eat, well, if anything, just to come up for air.
But now my stomach is sore because
the name of the show should be Dinner and an Argument.
Well, no, but you said earlier you felt like you were cast as the bad guy.
Well, because if you say anything that is contrary to what's become the dominant narrative, you're in the hip pocket of the oil company.
Actually, that it seems like you started from the position that you were about to be attacked and did a preemptive strike.
Well, because I've been doing this a long time, Tom, and I know what it is.
So you're paranoid.
Theodore Roosevelt, who is one of my heroes, he referred to nature fakers 100 years ago. And nature fakers are people who imbue nature with qualities that nature doesn't actually have, thereby robbing nature of the magnificent qualities it does have, and meanwhile debasing human beings. And I look at things like, for instance, Yosemite, which is this beautiful, gorgeous ecosystem, right? But it's human beings that value it. A squirrel that lives in Yosemite doesn't have bragging rights over a squirrel that's eating out of a dumpster behind a Kentucky Fried Chicken in Van Nuys.
Okay, can we
give Yosemite value. Human beings are part of nature.
On that lovely visual image, we're going to take a break and enjoy our meal. And we'll be back with more Supper Club after this. It was a dumpster where?
Van Nuys.
Van Nuys. Okay.